Please join me as we light the chalice, water of service. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning, in celebration of life we share together.
Good morning. We gather together seeking meaning, yearning to understand life in all its dimensions, as it challenges and expands, as it burdens and as it consoles and as it heals. We gather together with questions, the kinds of questions that provide us to the path of action. Gather with hope, the kind of hope that pulses on through uncertainty. We gather with tenderness, the kind of tenderness that can only be born from knowing human capabilities as well as human imperfections. We gather wanting certainty and having none, but we are wakeful to possibilities as we seek discernment and gentle judgment. We gather then unbounded but close. We gather thirsty. We gather drinking deep from the source of our love. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of the Low Country. My name is Charlie Tyler. I'm the pastoral minister here. It's my pleasure to be a part of this community and serve this community as best as I can. One of the things I want to do is acknowledge some really cool stuff that happened last night here in our fundraiser. First of all, I want to thank Jan and John for heading that up. Jan Wall, John Dunn. I think John's out in the lobby.
Vice versa.
But it was a great night, and thank both of you for taking the courage to lead on that. Pat Job, as many of you know, was our speaker, and he had an excellent message that brought a standing ovation. David and Ellen, beautiful music as always. John Shepard, beautiful music. David and Hyagua, thank you for manning the bar last night. You guys were fabulous. I do want to take a moment before I go any further. We have a little bit of homework that we need to do. We have a very active community here inside these walls, and we love to tell each other about what's going on, and we should. It's part of the way we keep ourselves together in community. And because there's a lot that's going on, it's very tempting for us to, when we make announcements and when we have our joys and concerns, to go on. So what I'd like to ask you to do not come up here for your joys and concerns. Do not come up here with your announcements because of this. But just be aware that there's a lot going on so we can support each other moving forward. Thank you. I think you understand. I'd like to take a moment to welcome guests and visitors here today. If there's any first or second time guests that are willing to stand and introduce themselves to us, tell us a little bit about you, like where you're from, we'd appreciate that. Is there any on my right, your left on the sanctuary that's first or second time visitors that would be willing to stand? Yes, Susan?
I have invited my friend from the Liberal Ladies, Julia Stefanini, and she decided to try us out, and I'll let her tell you where she's from.
Hi. This morning, but Julia Stefanini, my husband and I moved down to the area in 2021, and I'm originally from the Boston area, and just kind of navigating my way to find like-minded spiritual people. So here I am today, and thank you for the welcome.
Thank you. And if I can make your search easier, you've just found it. Any other first-time visitors that are willing to introduce themselves? In the center, first or second-time visitors. On my left, the far right, any first or time visitors? Second time visitors? Back rows, side rows, there's a couple of folks that are scattered around there too. None? Okay. Welcome those of you that are here, those of you that are longtime members and attend on a regular basis. You know why you're here, because you know what it's like to sit in a room full of the kindest, most loving people that's on the planet. To be encouraged by each other, built up by each other, and walk with each other in this journey that we have in front of us. That's why you're here, and I remind you of it. There's a couple announcements. Beth and Lynn and Hiagwa, if you begin to make your way down front, I know that you have an announcement that you might like to make. And Anthony, wherever you are, would you begin to make your way? Come on down here, get ready for that. Thank you, Anthony.
So we want to invite all of you to our movie discussion night, which is
April 9th.
April 9th at
6
6 o'clock. We'll be starting with a potluck dinner. The movie will be The Intouchables. If you haven't seen it, it's an amazing film. I've shown it to my college freshman class, to friends who were super critical. Everybody has loved it. A friend of mine said it doesn't have one bad note in it, and I think that's a pretty accurate description. So hope you'll come.
The food part of this, which we always have to have food, is bring your own beverage and bring something for a potluck. It's going to be about 6 o'clock, and so everybody will probably be pretty hungry. So we'll set things out as a buffet, and we will treat each other before we gather to talk. I would also make a recommendation. The film has had a remake of it. The original film is in French with subtitles. I would strongly recommend that, first of all, you watch the one that's French with subtitles. And then if you want to move on, fine. But I think the richest viewing experience is that original one.
The discussion. We all have such varied life experience that when we walk away from a movie or a book, we have perhaps different meanings, we have different characters that we like the best, and a discussion just enriches a movie for me. Sometimes I'll go watch it again with the comments that I've heard in mind. And so we hope you will join us. There's a sign-up sheet in the vestibule. Because we're going to be eating, we want to know how many tables to set up. We're going to have one big table. So please sign up and please come.
And one last clarification that we want to make. The movie is available to you through several streaming options, and we're going to have you stream the film on your own, either with friends or family or whatever, and then come to talk about it. So the film will actually be shown in your theater at home, and then you'll come here to the church to exchange our ideas. Thanks.
Hey gang, good morning.
Good morning.
Anthony Serpy, Coffee Man.
Yes.
All right, a few things. Number one, there's not going to be snacks out right after service today, just coffee. Because Kathy works the service a little later and then we'll have some more. Number one. Number two, you could all be mad at me because I blew it. I haven't brought in my sheets for everyone to sign up for help in the kitchen and snack donation. I updated it all today. There's a clipboard on the table. We need people signed up for weeks here and there, whenever you want. No pressure. And then any helpers, any kitchen helpers, the new list is in the kitchen. Any complaints, meet me at my office hours right in the kitchen after service. Thanks.
I'm going to turn your attention now to some of the announcements that are printed in your bulletin. I want to inform you or just draw your attention to the music on Malfred's that's scheduled for Friday, April 19th. Jacob Johnson will be performing. Please go watch some of his videos. He absolutely shreds a guitar. Gary Green, where are you? This is your guy. Oh, you're going to love this guy. So please make time to come and be a part of that. We're going to play some of the videos as we begin to get closer to that date. Other things you'll see, of course, is the celebration of Elisa Flamenhoff's life planned for Saturday, March 30th. That's this coming Saturday, 2 o'clock here in the sanctuary. And also, most of you know that there will be a celebration of life for our dear friend Kathy Quirk that begins here at 1 o'clock. There are some light finger foods that's going to be served immediately after the talkback. We're going to be ending the talkback just a little bit short so we can spend time together in that area, and then we'll gather back here for the service. You'll see that our March theme has been transformation. Clint Tawes is speaking this coming Sunday. April theme is interdependence, and we're looking very much forward to exploring some of that theme in our own hearts and in our own lives moving forward. Is there something that I have neglected before I turn this over to Maxine?
Maxine. Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you. I'd rather be reminded twice than not at all. I appreciate that. Maxine, why don't you begin to make your way down front? Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. This is the first in a series of short little presentations, no more than 3 minutes long. And it's a little...
Get closer. Yeah, come closer.
Gotta get closer.
Okay. Okay, higher. Just short presentations, a public service announcement, or otherwise known as a testimonial in regard to Unitarian Universalist Congregation of the Low Country. And it's entitled, What UUCL Means to Me. So, you have probably noticed that over our doorway there is the sign Sanctuary. So, this has definitely been a sanctuary to me. Shortly after moving here from Ithaca, New York, which is in every way the direct opposite in every area, to this location here. Ithaca was a very liberal, progressive community dominated by young people and education. So the culture was radically different from where I live now. I had a very difficult time adjusting to this area. I felt like I had moved to the far recesses of the universe. And I was not on the USS Starship Enterprise like many of us were last night when we were here at Starfleet dinner. So I definitely needed a sanctuary. And then there was COVID, so many people felt even more so that a sanctuary was needed. I found this to be a very welcoming community of like-minded people, which was exactly what I needed, people with similar values. And frankly, unless I had found this community or other similar communities in the area, I wouldn't have been able to survive here. I really thought that I was not going to be able to live here. So being here and having this place as shelter from the storm was very important to me. And I've never felt like anyone here would slap me in the face for expression of my ideas or opinions. So secondly, I do take the 8 principles of Unitarian Universalism very seriously. On face value, they seem easy enough to agree to, but really, if you delve into them, you find that they can be very challenging from time to time. The 2 principles that are the most important to me are, the first one being the inherent worth and value of each human being, and secondly, justice, equity, and compassion in human relations. And I try to keep these all very paramount in mind. The second principle justice, equity, and compassion in human relations, you might realize is very closely related to DEI, which is diversity, equity, and inclusion, that has some very negative connotations in our culture nowadays. And thirdly, UCL has helped me have a very positive outlook towards the world. And I try to keep love as dominant, because this is a unifying force rather than a divisive force. And this has helped me relate better to people. UCL has provided a congregation of people with whom I can work with on constructive goals and have meaningful relationships. There's many venues and outlets that UCL provides, such as our committee work, the talkback sections. We used to have a book club, perhaps that will start up again. The movie night that we're going to have, from time to time it varies, but if anyone is interested in anything specific, you're certainly free to bring that to our congregation in order for us to have another group within which to engage. And of course the sermons that we have that are very educational, provoking, and inspirational. Lastly, I'm very grateful for the support of this community and the fact that I was able to hold my husband Paul's celebration of life in this congregation. So I hope each of you has the freedom and the support to search for meaning which may evolve over our lives and be unique to each one of us, and that you too can find value in our UUCL congregation. Very
I don't do this often, but Maxine, amen. Thank you. It's my delight to introduce to you and to invite to this pulpit the Reverend Dr. Neal Jones, who's become my close friend. So thankful to have him a key and integral part of the life of this congregation, and to be supportive and to be here and to be present and to share with us the wisdom that comes from his experiences. So Dr. Jones, if you would please.
Good morning. Good morning. On this beautiful day. It's beautiful because of the weather outside and this community inside. It's good to be with you this morning. Our opening words are often ascribed to Nelson Mandela, but I learned recently that they were actually written by Marianne Williamson. And they go like this. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people will not feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine, just as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of humanity that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others.
If you would please take your hymnals into your hands, turn with me, if you will, to hymn number 101. May we stand and sing together, Abide with Me.
So, good morning again. I forgot that part. I'm new with this. This is the time in our service that we recognize the needs of other people and our church itself. First of all, the whole issue of providing help to Sandalwood Food Pantry and Bluffton Self-Help is a basis of what it is that we're all about in our community. There are, in fact, two communities, those who have and those who do not have. And believe me, we are very fortunate to have Nanette Pearson, Reverend Pearson, and doing what she's doing at Sandalwood Food Pantry, and likewise here on this side of the bridge at Bluffton. So if you have anything or will give anything in the future, please put it in the back of the sanctuary. This is the further time for us to collect past the basket for the things that we need here to keep things moving along. So if you're here for the first time and that particular lady, just let the basket pass because your being here is a value enough. Please join me in passing the basket. Thank you for your generosity, and if not, we'll send you to the Star Wars beyond.
May the force be with you.
And now we'll take the time to share our joys and concerns in the hopes that sharing our joys we can all celebrate together, and in sharing our concerns we can help lighten that load somewhat. So if you want to come forward and share a joy and or concern, please come forward, take a stone from the basket, share with us your name and a brief joy and or concern, and then place your stone in the cairn.
We're gonna do the same one. We'll do it together. Okay.
Good morning. I'm Betsy, and I'm here to speak for the Care Committee and voice the words of those of us that cannot be here this morning. I guess we're going to do this first one together. I'm here to tell you that Jim Weston last week fell and broke his hip and went into Hilton Head Hospital and had surgery for a new hip. He is now at NHC, and he's having a hard time. He has dementia, and he's confused by the different environments, and Jan is exhausted. Last night he called her, I think it was 3 times, and she didn't get any sleep. So she's there to be with him again today. And she says, you know, thank you for your thoughts and your love, and I think some cards have come already. but no visitors at this point. So did you want to say something?
Well, exactly that. It was a long night for her. And for the care committee, and this was for me, because we fell in love with this couple. And even though he had dementia, you know, we would play cards together and bridge, and he was great and practiced that. I mean, they are the loveliest couple ever. And I'll never forget my husband and I always sit over there. And she entered late, a little bit later than we did. And my husband looked at her and he said, "Oh, she's so delightful."
Oh.
And she is.
She is.
And he is a love bug too. So.
Thanks, Nance. Mary Watson, recovering from open heart surgery. She says she still feels like she's been hit by a truck. But she's starting cardiac rehab next week, and she's hoping that will be helpful and will give her more energy. Kathy Zeiser sends all of you her love. The situation with Bud is about the same. Their goal is to continue to keep him comfortable. Kathy is hoping to be at Kathy Quirk's service this afternoon, so maybe we'll get a chance to see her and give her a hug. That'd be nice. Okay, guys, thanks.
Hi, everybody. I'm Diana. I have two joys. I'm really happy to be back. I was away for a couple of weeks, and I really, really missed coming here. So I'm joyful about being back and getting to see all your wonderful, beautiful faces and your energy that you bring to all of us, including me. And I'm joyful that when I visited my brother in Pennsylvania, my baby brother, who's been very sick for a few years, is doing a little better. We thought he was on that slippery slope, but he's on an upswing right now, so we'll take it. So I'm very joyful and happy about that.
I'm Leslie. I'm taking 2 stones from the basket this morning. Both of my sisters are under the weather. One caught what I had last week when I couldn't attend service. And I called the other one this morning because we were planning to go see a movie, and she was under the weather too. So this is not, they're doing okay. It's not real serious, but this is not an announcement. However, they were going to go to the movie with me at 3 o'clock, and so I have 2 tickets, not to hand over, but I have a redemption code. But the reason I mention this is because it's a special movie that's being shown one time nationwide today at 3 o'clock only. And the title is Christspiracy, and the makers of this film did a documentary called Cowspiracy and Seaspiracy. But they're going to go to leaders of many different religions to ask questions about how their religious beliefs combine with animal cruelty or that type of thing. So the ticket prices are high, but if you see me afterwards, I can give you their tickets electronically.
I'm Frank Flamenhouse. Let me get some stones. They go from which to
The
which?
basket. Take them to the basket.
The basket. Okay. I forgot. I usually forget about stones. First of all, I want to tell you, I want to thank the people who helped put together the insert in your program today about Alyssa's celebration of life ceremony that we're going to have next Saturday at 2. And I hope that many of you who know her, I know you'll be here, but there are those of you who don't know her. If you hear what her family and hopefully some friends will have to tell you about Alyssa, it'll, be maybe a good experience. It's funny, I saw this on the table out there. You notice it's a different color. I think Patricia Friedman and Alyssa were the only ones that still had these old badges. Ours now are shinier. And, but we've been around a long time, and this congregation has been a big thing in our lives. One of the downsides, but first of all, I want to thank some specific people. Wynette Barnard helped put together the insert, and David has been terrific working with my granddaughter. And then it's ironic, the person who's done the most probably certainly to put together that insert and help prepare for the celebration is Alyssa Flamenhoff. Because our eldest granddaughter, we know her as Ellie, but she was named, I guess, after Alyssa, which is just an expression of how much our kids loved Alyssa. They'll tell you about it if you're here. I mean, they'll tell the congregation about it who show up. My family's been great. Sons, we got 3 of them. They pretty much been calling me every day. And as I said, but one of the disadvantages of having been around so long is most of my closest friends, many of whom, I mean, just Dorothy Fine, it's funny, I've got a lot of old ladies and I seem to form very, I'm a little concerned. Marietta Kerr is having a lot of trouble with her breathing. Now, I haven't spoken to her recently. She's not here. Usually we go out to lunch after the service with her. We did. And I hope things are okay. I got to call her. But anyhow, that brings up the thing that the worst part of Alyssa's being gone for me is I get kind of lonely. I had one day last week when I didn't speak to anyone I knew. No friend. So anyhow, if any of you, like, I'm going to be staying over or going out to eat and then coming back for Kathy's service or celebration of life. And if anyone wants to go out to lunch, let me know, because I'm going to be eating. And I just want to thank this congregation in general. Thank you so much. Yeah, well, I told you, I feel like I forgot. Yeah, I guess these I didn't use.
Thank you.
So because we have so much going on today, I've made an executive decision. We're going to move past our affirmation at this time, and I am pleased to invite Dr. Jones to the pulpit to bring us this message. So if you would, please.
I wonder if you have as hard a time as I have connecting with the Easter story. The crucifixion and resurrection of Jesus seem so foreign to our day-to-day lives. There is respect. There is nostalgia, at least for those of us who grew up in the Christian tradition. But for most of us, the journey from Palm Sunday to the empty tomb does not intersect with our lives. After all, we're trying to make it in life. We're busy completing taxes, completing another year of school, completing deadlines. We hustle to cover many bases, providing for our children, doing a good job at work, keeping up the house and yard, homework, church work, work. We squeeze in some fun when we can with friends and family. Concerns about our jobs, concerns about our parents, concerns about our health. We're busy making it in our lives. The Easter story just doesn't connect with our personal stories very obviously. On the surface, those events seem alien. This Jewish teacher lived 2,000 years ago in a distant small territory on the fringe of the Roman Empire. Jesus and his disciples were not into career, not concerned about doctor bills, 1040 forms, or retirement benefits. The politics around the crucifixion is indecipherable. Annas, Caiaphas, Pilate, Herod. So is the crucifixion itself. Who among us can imagine the agony of being nailed to a crossbeam and left there to hang until the life drips out of you? And what about the empty tomb? Who among us can understand how a man who was dead as a doornail somehow, some way, comes back to life? It's hard to make a personal connection with the last week of Jesus' life. So this morning, let me suggest a way to enter the Easter story. Because I assume that you and I are not just interested in making it in life. Making it is important to us, but at least a part of us wants more than relative comfort and security. We want more than just survival. In addition to making a living, we want to make a life. I assume you and I want to live, not just exist. I assume that we desire to be a whole person, a complete human being. I assume that you and I want to love and to be loved. I assume that we suspect that there is real freedom in being able to forgive and to be forgiven. I assume that you and I want to be able to give ourselves away generously and to receive fully. I assume that we want our lives to count, to make a difference, even to bend history, however slightly, in a more humane direction. Well, since we are approaching Easter, let me put this in explicitly Christian terms. For those of us who grew up Christian, and for those of us who may still claim that identity, despite the fact that most traditional Christians would not recognize us as Christian, what captured our commitment and passion was Jesus. Not the layers of mythology and superstition that centuries of Christianity have piled on top of the Jesus story. But Jesus, his ethical teachings, his incredible compassion, his radical acceptance, his freedom to be fully authentic. When we were baptized, when we were confirmed, when we joined the Christian church, we were saying that we wanted more than just to make it in life. We were saying that we wanted life. And in the life of Jesus, we saw a clue to the fullness of life, the possibility of what humanity can be. During this Easter season, let me return to the Easter story to talk about a kindred spirit. Not the main character, but a supporting actor. I want to focus for a moment on Peter. I like Peter because he's so ordinary, so human, so much like you and me. Now, the New Testament makes no attempt to gloss over his failings and mistakes. It's as if the New Testament is saying, if you make mistakes, lighten up on yourself. So did St. Peter, and he was the rock upon which the church was built. Peter was Jesus' cockiest disciple. When Peter thought he was right, neither hell nor high water could change his mind. Now, there's nothing wrong with being sincere, but occasionally a sincere person is sincerely wrong. One such time for Peter was when Jesus told him and the other disciples that he would have to go to Jerusalem, where he would be killed. Peter just could not accept that. There was no way his friend and teacher was going to be tortured and killed. In what was probably his harshest rebuke, Jesus said to Peter, "Get behind me, Satan. You are a hindrance to me, for you are not on the side of God, but of men." Peter misunderstood who Jesus was. He misinterpreted Jesus' mission in the world. Like many other people at the time, including many of Jesus' own followers, he wanted Jesus to be a military chief and a political leader. Despite his misunderstanding, however, Peter continued to hang in there. He continued to have faith that he would see more clearly one day. And there was the time that Peter dared to promise Jesus, "The others may betray you, but I will not. I will follow you till death." He meant it. With all his heart, he meant it. Peter was Jesus' most loyal disciple. If anyone would fight to the death to defend Jesus, he would. But when the ultimate test of loyalty came, Peter betrayed Jesus. Now, Judas betrayed Jesus as well, but Judas lost faith in himself and in the possibility of forgiveness. But not Peter. Despite his disloyalty, he continued to hang in there. He continued to have faith that broken promises can be redeemed and that broken relationships can be mended. And then there was the time that Peter was stretched beyond his prejudice. He encountered a Gentile named Cornelius who claimed to be a believer too. Now, Peter was Jewish, and there was no way he would even associate with Cornelius because, according to Jewish tradition, Gentiles were unclean and ungodly. But then Peter had a vision. A vision he believed came straight from God. And in this vision was spread all kinds of foods, including foods that were not kosher. And in the vision, God told Peter to eat. It was a vision of equality that stretched Peter beyond the limits of his upbringing, his tradition, his religion. Peter had a vision of love's possibilities because he hung in there. He allowed himself to be stretched because he had faith that people can continue to grow up even as they grow old. As a boy, I was taught that in order to be a man, I could never ask for help. I could never let anyone see me cry. I could never allow anyone to see my faults and weaknesses. And if my only goal in life were to make it, that would be all I would need to know. But to struggle to a place beyond misunderstanding and resentment, to reach beyond the guilt of your broken promises to someone else, or beyond the pain of someone else's broken promises to you, to find within yourself the ability to love those you judge unlovable, requires faith. Now, you may be surprised to hear me say that because faith is not a word we Unitarians usually use. That's because we Unitarians don't like to be told what to believe or to tell others what to believe. And in American Christianity, the word faith has become synonymous with belief. To have faith means to hold certain theological beliefs, most of which are no longer intellectually tenable or morally acceptable. For most, faith is a mental exercise, a head game. Believing something you know ain't true, as Mark Twain once put it. But the biblical word we've translated as faith involves your imagination and your will more than your mind. Faith is imagining a future that's different from the past and living as if that future is possible. And by living as if that future is possible, faith helps to make that future come true. Or as the recovery movement puts it, fake it till you make it. Faith is believing that new life can emerge from what has died and living into that new life. That is how Easter intersects with your life and mine. Lauren Isley was a great naturalist who spent some time in a seaside town called Costabel. Plagued by insomnia, he spent the early morning hours walking along the beach. Each day at sunrise, he observed the town people combing the sand for the starfish that had washed ashore during the night. They would kill them and then sell them commercially. For Isley, he took this as a small sign of the many ways the world says no to life. But one morning, he arose unusually early and saw a solitary figure on the beach. Now, this man was also gathering starfish, but each time he found one alive, he picked it up and threw it as far as he could beyond the breaking surf. Each day, Isley found this man embarked on this mission of mercy, 7 days a week, no matter the weather. One morning, Isley approached the man. I said to him that I thought he was foolish, says Isley. There are thousands of starfish on miles and miles of beach. One man alone could never make a difference. The man smiled as he picked up the next starfish. Hurling it far into the sea, he said, "It makes a difference for this one."
Yes.
This man contradicted everything Isley had been taught about evolution and the survival of the fittest. here on this sandy beach, the strong reach down to save, not crush, the weak. In contrast to all those around him who were saying no to life, Isley observed that this man was saying yes. The crucifixion was a resounding no to life, but resurrection is a resounding yes. Faith is not believing in the resuscitation of a dead man executed 2,000 years ago. Faith is believing in resurrection, in the possibility of new life. It's believing that morning shatters the dark night, that spring melts winter, that vibrant colors burst forth from barren bushes. Many of you are star throwers. You have lost your life companion, either through death or divorce. And you are growing new life-giving connections and reviving old ones. You are saying yes to life. Some of you have lost your job, either through a layoff or retirement. And you're forging a new direction and purpose for your life. You are saying yes to life. Some of you have lost your health and vitality. And you're accepting life on its terms with courage and grace. You are saying yes to life. Some of you have lost your certainty. Old assumptions that were once nailed down have been pulled up, and old beliefs that were firmly planted have been uprooted. But you are embracing the gray ambiguities of life that do not neatly fit into black and white boxes. You are saying yes to life. Some of you have lost your innocence. You have learned firsthand that life is unfair, that love hurts, and that people are human. But you're picking yourself back up again, dusting yourself off, and living again. You are saying yes to life. You cannot nail love to a cross. It will break free. You cannot bury hope in a tomb. It will rise again. You cannot kill faith. It will not die. You cannot give up on life. It will amaze you with its resilience. That's the meaning of resurrection. Amen.
Thank you, Dr. Jones. Now, if you would please take your hymnals into your hands. Turn with me, if you will, to hymn number 123. May we stand and sing together, Spirit of Life. Jones, I'd like the last several sentences of that message to ring in my heart for a good long while. I appreciate that we continue to say yes to life in the face of that which seems to not be life at all. But as we take our own starfish, it matters to that one. Yeah. Dr. Jones, if you would, please.
Our closing words are by Ellen Bass, and she writes, "The thing is to love life, to love it even when you have no stomach for it, and everything you've held dear crumbles like burnt paper in your hands, your throat filled with the silt of it. Then you hold life like a face between your palms, a plain face, no charming smile, no violet eyes, and you say, yes, I will take you. I will love you again."
Please stand and join me with the extinguishing of the chalice. Order of service. While we extinguish this flame, we still carry in our hearts the light of truth, the warmth of community, and the fire of commitment until we are together again.
Good show.